up, nerds? Mike Manalo from the Nerds of Color, coming to you live from prison? I know this is a different format than you guys are usually used to from me. I think you're used to seeing the written reviews online, but instead of making you guys read a bunch of verbose hot air, we thought we'd record this time and have you guys listen to the verbose hot air instead. Toy Story 4, is it good? Does it live up to the rest of the Pixar's canon? Honestly, I think the answer might surprise you. When we first heard about this project, we thought, why would we need another one? Everything ended so perfectly with 3. It was the perfect trilogy. Not a whole lot of franchises achieved that, but to my surprise, Toy Story 4 was fantastic. Think about it this way. Let's say you got a favorite album and you listen to the final track and you think to yourself, this is the most perfect album of all time, and then a bonus track comes along and just enhances the experience. That's what Toy Story 4 really is like. If you take a look at the original trilogy, it ends so perfectly, but you know what? 4 adds to that so beautifully. It brings in a lot of humor and a lot of heart and a lot of adventure, and it really completes a lot of character arcs that we originally didn't think need to be completed, and then upon seeing this movie we were like, I'm really glad that they did this. I'll give you guys a little bit of a breakdown. The movie starts out with a flashback. We kind of see how Bo Peep, I guess, was given away to a friend of Andy's mom's, and, apparently she and Woody were separated. And then we cut to, the events following Toy Story 3 with the rest of the toys adjusting to life with their new owner, Bonnie. And Woody's having the hardest adjustment of all, just neurotically feeling as if he has to be there and be the perfect toy and, do everything to support Bonnie and try and get her through kindergarten. And that part of that included really defending a new toy that is introduced to the group, one that Bonnie creates called Forky. Spend a good amount of the time with Woody being this overprotective parent type, trying to save Forky from throwing himself away a lot of the time. By the way, Tony Hale, who plays Forky, does a phenomenal job. It's a character that you didn't think would play out very nicely given the trailers, but he ends up being this really hilarious, really charming character. And a lot of his time with Woody really brings about that beautiful theme about, purpose and, why we exist and what we try to do to find purpose in life. And I think that's inevitably a very important message that not only is so human and so relatable, but also so really beautiful and necessary for a character like Woody, a character that we've known since 1995. Things kind of get really escalated when Woody and Forky find themselves in an old antique shop on a road trip with Bonnie, and they encounter a character named Gabby who wants Woody's voice box. Gabby and her minions, which are a bunch of little ventriloquist dummies that pretty much inhabit the antique store that Woody and Forky get lost in, are probably some of the creepiest freaking characters ever in a kid's movie, honestly. At the screening that I went to, so many people were squirming in their seats because the dummies themselves were just creepy as hell. They would do these like head spinning thingies where their heads would turn 180 degrees and just freak the living crap out of everyone in the audience. You heard so many people panicking and squirming when they saw that, myself included, quite frankly. You had these amazing nods as well to The Shining, and the whole thing was just super creepy, so watch out for the young kids, but honestly, I think adults and older kids will appreciate the living hell out of that because it's just so entertaining. Gabby is played by Christina Hendricks, who also does a phenomenal job. And one of the best things about Toy Story 4 is that they're not repeating a Prospector Pete, Lotso, Hug and Bear situation in Gabby. As a villain in the franchise, she's actually quite a sympathetic and interesting character, and I think you end up finding that, this whole theme about purpose and this existential idea of us creating purpose for ourselves that's within this movie is very much apparent in Gabby Gabby and in Woody's struggles as well. Adding to the idea of this theme of purpose is Bo Peep, who ends up becoming reunited with Woody in a very heartfelt way. And you find out that that character has been forced to survive for years and has discovered that she needed to create her own purpose. And all things considered, I think that inevitably helps Woody's character, seeing somebody create their own purpose and not being overly reliant on being of use to another character or human being. Really, one of the best things about Toy Story 4 is that it's probably also one of the funniest films in this franchise. I thought 2 was really hilarious, I thought 3 was really fun, but 4 was just really so very funny, and I think a large part of that is because you have characters like Forky and new characters like Key and Peele's Ducky and Bunny, and Keanu Reeves, who's amazing, by the way, and probably the MVP of summer 2019, I think we can all agree. Keanu Reeves is Duke Kaboom, a Canadian stunt toy who also comes with his own owner baggage. Overall, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but Toy Story 4 was honestly one of those big surprises. I can't believe I'm saying that about a Pixar movie. It really shouldn't surprise me at this point, but it was a big surprise for me. And honestly, in a summer of disappointing sequels, you really have a phenomenal sequel out of this. Something that we wouldn't think would be necessary, but ends up being exactly what the summer needs, and exactly what Pixar needs, and exactly what Toy Story and the characters that we've grown to love for so long really need. And honestly speaking, you'd be doing yourself a huge favor by going to see it with your families and just enjoying yourselves and laughing and crying. This is a very emotional movie. I personally didn't cry because I'm so tough. But all things considered, I could see and heard a bunch of sniffling in the theaters and a bunch of people tearing up because this is one of those very emotional movies, and the writing just does an amazing job of getting you emotionally attached to these characters. Anyway, that's my review of Toy Story 4. I'm going to give it a grade of NA. Whoa. And hopefully you guys check it out for yourselves, and I definitely want to hear more about what you all think. Till then, stay tuned, nerds.